I remembered how you take it. Oh, you remembered how I take it, huh? Bent over. Hello, and welcome to days 1 and 2 of Chilling Devotion. This is a Yandere dating sim where your planned wilderness retreat goes very wrong when you accidentally end up in the wrong cabin. Luckily, the owner's name is Jim, and he's honestly pretty kind in letting you stay when a snowstorm occurs. But the longer you stay in this forest, it becomes apparent that something is dreadfully wrong. Let's get started. Day 1. Unexpected guest. I've been meaning to play this for quite some time now, so I'm very keen. The car's engine purred softly as it glided along the snow-covered road, creating a rhythmic hum that harmonized with the tranquility of the winter landscape. The world outside seemed hushed and still, as if nature itself had been silenced by a blanket of pristine snow. Through the windshield, the scene unfolded like a postcard come to life. The snow-laden trees stood tall, their branches delicately adorned with glistening crystals. Each limb reached out towards the sky as if yearning to touch the falling snowflakes. The wind of the snow bent some branches, creating a graceful arch that framed the road ahead. As the car made its way through the winter wonderland, the snowscape seemed to stretch out infinitely in every direction. The vastness of the scenery was both awe-inspiring and humbling. You continue to look around and wonder from the warmth and comfort of your vehicle. For you, this is a whole new experience coming from a busy city life. The Little Cub Cabin Retreat. It was advertised as the coziest escape in the heart of snowy mountain wilderness. Unplug and experience the tranquility and the unforgettable views of the snow-capped peaks and towering pine trees right outside your window, and potentially a hot yandere killer that is waiting for you in the snow. It sounded like exactly what you needed at the time, and you immediately booked a cabin for one, just for a week. You look down at the directions you downloaded again. Turn onto Little Cub Trail, and it's the first cabin on the left. You slow the car as you approach a sign. Some of the letters of Little Cub peek out from under the snow. You turn to the trail and your car bumps along the unpaved snowy dirt path. Looking around attentively for the first cabin you see through the increasing snowfall, the wind suddenly starts whipping the snow around with fervor, and the road ahead of you quickly disappears. You feel a pang in your chest at the sight and your breath quickens. Your eyes begin darting between the trees looking for this damn cabin. So much for the forecast of light snow today. Hopefully you get there soon in case the snow gets worse. Finally, you have been looking forward to this getaway for a couple of weeks, and there it is. You take some time to fully take in the exterior from the safety of your car. Now the idea of a private snowy cabin makes you lonely, relaxed, nervous, or excited. Nervous or I think unsure. You're not really sure yet. You want to reserve judgment for now until you see how things go. This is a completely new experience for you, so you're not sure what to expect. Hopefully, you'll be able to get a better idea what's in store for you once you get there. You squint through the falling snow, trying to make out the numbers on the cabin. The snow is really starting to come down quickly, and you feel an urgency to get indoors. Snow uncovered the sign, but this one looked like the picture in the booking, so you pulled onto the snow-covered path. You feel a wave of relief to have finally arrived. The drive up the mountain was like a rainbow road, and the snow, while beautiful, made for an even more challenging drive. Your little cabin is surrounded by trees, and there are no neighbors in sight. A large stretch of wilderness ensures you plenty of privacy. You hurriedly lug your stuff out of your car up to the cabin. It's not much, just a suitcase for the week. Looking at the snow, maybe you should have packed even thicker winter clothes. The icy environment chills the delicate skin on your face. You bound it to the cabin, eager to get out of the cold. It's already unlocked. Is this normal for remote cabins? As you step inside, the warmth of being out of the elements immediately greets you. But it could certainly be warmer. You set your things down by the door and quickly set about lighting a fire in the fireplace. Conveniently, there's some wood and a light up at the hearth. You take in the cabin's interior, and it's as cozy as described, if not a bit more messy than expected. Did they not clean up the place? There's still stuff laid out on the table. It looks like the place hasn't been swept in a while too. It has a lived-in feel, and is ready for someone to move in. The warm glow from the hearth dancing across the rustic wooden walls and furniture was cozy and inviting. Some books are resting on the worn wooden tables and shelves. You hurry over to inspect the tiny kitchenette, and you're pleasantly surprised that it's fully stocked. Wow, it looks like mystery meat and a lot of junk food. Still, that's pretty generous of people running this place. You'd expected to get food later in town when the snow let up. It's a bit of a drive, but there is a small town with a grocery store around here. You can look more closely around the rest of the cabin later. Right now, you just wanted a warm drink. You look in the kitchen's drawers and find a couple of options to choose from. All of them are of the instant drink variety, but beggars can't be choosers. What do you want to drink? Tea, coffee, or hot cocoa? Cocoa. You grab a packet for an instant hot cocoa, and you find a pot and start to heat some water on the gas stove. It's been a while since you used one of these. You check your phone and there's no signal. You do spot a landline on the countertop if you need to call anyone. Been a while since you've seen one of those too. Another reminder of how far from civilization you are. The pot of water simmers on the stove, and you pour some into a cup for your hot cocoa. The smell of hot cocoa fills the room, and the warmth from the cup warms your frozen hands. The window rattles suddenly, and you jump from your thoughts. The snowing from earlier has really picked up into a storm now, the heavy fall of snow blurring the landscape out the window. The wind howls and rattles the windows again, the sharp, erratic bursts making you flinch every time. Snow now slams against the cabin in chaotic flurries. You wonder if the windows would hold against the storm's fury. That's a bit concerning, but it's a perfect contrast to the safety of the cabin. The cabin was a small sanctuary that was holding back the icy wilderness beyond its walls. Luckily, you have food here, and made it before the weather took a turn for the worse. Snowed in or not, you were planning on bunkering down here initially anyway. And just as you started settling in the hearth with your hot drink, there was knocking at the door. You snap your head towards the sound and you feel your heart racing with fear. You weren't expecting anyone, and the thought of a stranger out here in the middle of nowhere during a snowstorm sent a shiver down your spine. But maybe it was the cabin host, or someone that needed help. You set down your drink on the table gently and looked towards the door. What will you do now? Open the door. Yes, because that is a very good idea. You take a deep breath and make your way to the door, steeling yourself for whoever is on the other side. When you open the door, you're greeted by a tall figure wearing a mask, their expression hidden. Your breath catches in your throat at the looming sight, fear threatening to overwhelm you. A biting and cold wind rushes in from the cracked open door. The unknown visitor is bundled in the thick clothes and covered in snow, the huffs of their breath still showing through their mask. Who are you? The figure says nothing, the silence somehow chilling the air further. You reflexively take a step back and grip the door's handle, ready to slam the door shut and lock it. The stranger seems to notice this and slams his hand on the door, preventing you from closing it. At the sudden movement, you attack. You don't think you can win a fight against this man, but maybe you can catch him by surprise and get the upper hand. With adrenaline coursing through your veins, you lunge at the stranger, but the man's reflexes are faster than you anticipated. He easily dodges your attack and catches your arm to stop you. I wouldn't try that again if I were you. His hands are strong but not painful, and they anchor you firmly in place in front of him. His face is unreadable, neither angry nor amused, just unreadable. The storm outside howls louder as if taunting you in the situation. What do you do now? Struggle. You try and pull against his gloved hand, but it's no use. The stranger is much stronger than you. You're not going anywhere. A chill runs through you as you hear that low, menacing, cold voice. There's a slight southern drawl to it. His words hang heavy in the air, mingling with your labored breaths and the roar of the winds. Just as you're starting to feel lightheaded, the stranger adds matter-of-factly, especially not in this weather. There's a snowstorm. You won't survive out there alone. You would even make it 5 minutes in the storm by the looks of you. He suddenly lets go of you. The action is so sudden that you stumble back into the cabin's interior, and the stranger takes a step in. The stranger's masked face remains unreadable as they shut the door behind them, sealing you both inside. The stranger pulls down his mask to reveal his face. He begins dusting off the snow from his clothes and goes to hang up his overcoat by the door naturally. I'm Jim. This is my place. He stares speechlessly at his casual statement, as if he's not aware of the scare he just gave you. What's your name? I don't want to tell you my name. Jim flinches at your words, but his flat expression returns quickly. Okay, that's fine, I guess. There's an awkward beat before he gestures for you to take a seat by the fireplace. I don't want to sit. Jim looks like he wants to say something, but stops himself. Then reluctantly he replies, okay, that's fine. You both stand there awkwardly until he nervously speaks up. I'm real sorry about before. You really scared me. Why did you knock on your own door and didn't say anything earlier? Jim looks away guiltily, then hurriedly explains himself. I saw your car and I was just trying not to scare you, just trying to let you know that I'm here. And then when I saw you, I got nervous. The guy did all of that because he got nervous. You're taken aback by the contrast of the man in front of you and your first impression of him. And besides that, you're still confused about how all this happened. He gestures again towards the chair by the fireplace. Please, I'll answer you the best I can, promise. Sit down. You stiffly follow his suggestion and sit down in the chair with a creak. He takes off his hat and dusts off the snow before following you and taking a seat as well. Although, can you imagine just like renting a nice Airbnb and then someone's just like, well, this wasn't supposed to be rented out. This is my home. And I'm like, wait, what? I'd be freaking out and trying to leave too. He takes off his hat and dusts off the snow before following you and taking a seat as well. You're both sitting by the hearth now after your misunderstanding. You feel a mixture of adrenaline and embarrassment. So, I think what happened... Jim thinks for a moment and speaks more quietly because of self-consciousness about how his voice sounds. His voice still comes out as a low rumble. Were you trying to go to that tiny bear house? You mean the little cub cabin? Then yes. Right. You went way too far down the trail then. Probably missed it with all the snow and pines. Easy to happen when the snow gets like this. Your face burned with embarrassment at your mistake and the whole misunderstanding. So much for a relaxing getaway. That makes sense. An awkward silence stretches between you two until Jim speaks again.
I think the storm will pass in a couple of days. You can stay here until then.
A couple of days?
Well, now that we've gotten to know each other more, can I know what your name is?
Yinny.
Yinny.
You sit there and process what's happened. I guess I don't have much of a choice. Jim nods sympathetically.
It's for the best. You can trust me on that.
You slump in your chair a bit in defeat at your own helplessness. Jim moves to stand up and starts gesturing around the room.
So the bathroom is in the corner there. Oh, and feel free to put your things in the spare room, over there on your right. My room's the one to your left by the front door. It's not much, but you're safe here.
Jim points to the pot on the stove next.
I'll have some hot cocoa too after all of that. Do you want your hot cocoa reheated? Since you helped yourself to some already.
You groan at any reminders of your unfortunate beginnings here. Sure, thanks. Jim gives you a curt nod and grabs your cup. Things are still pretty awkward, but it was kinda sweet that he was trying to be a good host.
How about you check out your room while I reheat the drinks?
You nod and grab your luggage to take to your room. The room is small, but just as cozy as the rest of the cabin. Simple with its furnishings, that's all you need. It's minimally decorated like the rest of his cabin, but it has a bed, a nightstand, and a lamp. And now it has your suitcase and belongings in the corner. You sit down on the bed with a creak. The bed feels impossibly soft beneath you, urging your tense muscles from earlier to uncoil. You let out a long breath as your hand traces absent-mindedly over the quilted blanket. Its fabric is worn, but comforting. What a situation. You hear the muffled clattering of Jim in the kitchen and snow battering against the walls. When is he gonna batter me against the wall? This is not what you had expected at all, and you wonder how it'll all go.
Your hot cocoa is ready.
Jim's voice from the other room pulls you from your thoughts and you get up to join him. You sit across from Jim as he hands you a reheated hot cocoa. Jim cradles his own mug in his hands, savoring its warmth before taking a little sip. His posture's more relaxed but still seems a bit shy. You get a better look at him now that things are less intense. His pale hair is damp and disheveled from the snowstorm, and he keeps it pretty long. His eyes flick to you occasionally before glancing back down at his drink.
Sorry, I'm not used to having company, I guess.
What do? Ask him some questions. So, what were you doing outside just now?
Just checking some traps I saw in the woods nearby.
Traps?
Traps are small game, like rabbits and such, mostly. Nothing in the traps today, probably all hiding from the storm.
Oh, I see. That would explain the mystery game meat in the fridge earlier. So, do you live out here all the time? He glances at you and then answers while looking into the fire.
It used to be not all the time, just when I need to get away, but now, yeah, this is where I live.
His voice is steady, but there's something vulnerable in his tone, like he's not used to explaining himself. Get away from what? He seems to hesitate. Maybe from trying to find the right words before settling on what to say.
Everything. The noise, the people, it's just too much.
Understandable. I understand. Me too. You nod, feeling a strange sense of understanding. I get it. It's why I wanted to come out here too. Just need a break from it all. I wish I could be away all the time, but I have responsibilities. Jim's lips twitch into a faint smile, and for the first time since talking, his gaze holds yours for a while.
And again, you end up in the wrong cabin.
I will laugh. Your cheeks warm and you let out a soft laugh. Yeah, not exactly the peaceful getaway I had in mind. You're surprised by the rich depth of his chuckle, despite how he tried to quiet it. It sends a pleasant warmth through you.
Well, I guess it's not every day you accidentally break into someone else's house.
The initial tension between you is melted away as you both laugh about it.
I hope you do get what you came here for.
You can't help but smile at his gentle words. So, the storm seems pretty rough.
Yeah, but it should calm down in a day or two. And if you want, I can make sure you get to the right cabin then. The mountain weather can be unpredictable. One moment it's clear, then dangerous in an instant. It's snowing a bit earlier this year, but it's not uncommon. The snow falls hard and the wind, well, it howls like it's got something to prove.
You nod along at his explanation. You weren't aware of how it was in the mountains. He lets out a soft sigh before continuing, running a hand through his messy hair.
I knew the second I saw you that you were not used to this. If you don't know what you're doing and you try and go out there, well, you're pretty much asking for trouble then.
You notice a shift in his tone when talking about the storm. There's something protective about it, like he's trying to prepare you or maybe even shield you from the wilderness of the mountain.
Just wait it out. Don't venture out if you don't have to.
The storm outside wails a bit louder for a moment as if protesting, and Jim shifts his gaze out the window.
I've been stuck in here before. You just get used to it and then it's not so bad.
You take in his words. You get the impression that he's used to navigating the chaos of the mountain, and with him maybe you could too. So, what do you do out here?
I like to be in nature and be alone.
Yeah? Like hiking?
I hunt and fish when the weather's better. Sometimes I make stuff. There's a town away from here, but I mostly just keep to myself.
His eyes dart nervously around and you get the impression that he's not used to talking about himself like this. You decide not to get into it for now, for his sake, but you are curious. He seems like the type to say things when he's ready. So, you said you don't see many people around here?
Yeah, to be honest, you're the first person I really talked to in a couple of months. Other than when I'm picking up supplies in town.
He awkwardly shifts in his seat and rubs the back of his neck like he's unsure how to continue.
I guess you could probably tell with how out of practice I am with all the social stuff.
Oh, I think you're doing fine. He gives a dry laugh, but it's not exactly a happy one.
The isolation, it's easier this way. I've never minded being by myself, it's peaceful. I don't generally like people, but it's been nice talking with you.
The admission lingers in the air as you both take it in. You're touched by his openness and vulnerability in the moment. Well, I'm glad I could be the one you talk to. Jim smiles at this and he takes another shy sip from his mug. A moment of warmth settles between the two of you, and you feel a bit closer. So, you're done asking questions. You both finish up the rest of your drinks in silence. Jim looks at you and finally asks you a question himself.
So, how are you feeling about being stuck out here?
He quickly looks away again. While anticipating your answer, he has a complicated look on his face. You wonder why that is. He's a hard man to read. When is he just gonna be a hard man, if you know what I mean? You'd like to stay here longer. Pick the option with the heart. I actually really like it here. I can see myself spending my whole stay here, honestly. It's been nice having you as company.
Well, I'll be honest too, I've been liking your company. What I'm trying to say is, you can stay here longer if you want, but you don't gotta decide now. Maybe your feelings will change. Although I'm happy you feel that way right now.
You smile at his flustered but sincere response. You guess you'll have to see how things go. Jim looks back into the flickering embers of the fire and seems to be weighing your response in his head. You wonder what he's thinking, but can't exactly bring yourself to interrupt his thoughts. You ultimately look into the fire too. The dancing flames lull you into its trance as your mind wanders. The time flows as the sun disappears from the sky, and you're both left with the dying fire. At some point you find yourself watching him. His features are softer in the firelight. Warmer too than before. He looks much more friendly now that he's taken off his outerwear and is relaxing in his more casual outfit. He doesn't seem to talk much, but his voice carries a quiet intensity, like every word matters. He glances at you and catches you staring. You quickly look down your empty mug, feeling the heat rise in your face from being caught. He doesn't say anything at first, but now you feel him observing you back.
What?
You're handsome. As the words come out of your mouth, Jim's eyes widen for a moment. His cheeks flush a soft shade of red, and he shifts awkwardly in his seat and looks back to the fire as if it can offer him some comfort. He's honestly pretty cute. He seems very sweet. I feel bad that I just barged into his house.
Thanks.
He clears his throat, then raises his gaze slightly up to you again.
I don't really get called that a lot.
There's something incredibly endearing about his genuine nervousness.
But, I guess I'll take it. It's very nice of you to say.
He lets out a slow breath and glances at you.
You're not so bad yourself, you know?
And then Jim looks into his empty mug, now cold.
Well, I think I'll call it a night.
Jim gets up and holds out a hand to take the empty mug from you, trying to be a gracious host. You give him your cup too, and his lips curve into a small smile. He walks into the kitchen and places both your mugs in the tiny sink there with a clink. Then, Jim goes over to the hearth and puts out the rest of the fire before heading to the room. You get up and walk over to your room. You peer out to Jim, closing the door to your room. Jim lingers by his door and glances back at you.
Okay, well, good night, Yandere.
Can I stay in your room? Jim gives you a perplexed look.
Why would you want to do that?
I think there are other ways we can stay warm. Yeah. Jim's eyes dart around the room, anywhere but you.
There are extra blankets in your room if you get cold.
Jim rushes away before you can say anything else. Oh. You turn to go to your room then. Your door creaks as you close it all the way and you turn towards what will be your room for the next couple of days. That was much nicer than how your first meeting started. You're getting to know Jim a lot more, and you both are getting along. Your unexpected host is turning out to be a pleasant surprise. You change into your sleeping clothes and jump under the covers of warmth. The storm is still raging outside as much as it was earlier. You start to relax and soon the storm outside starts to sound like white noise. The events of the day are taking their toll on you. Before you arrived, you were feeling unsure. Now after everything that has happened, you feel attraction. Honestly, you're attracted to Jim. He has been not what you expected, and you're looking forward to learning more about him. As you think about how you feel, you drift off to sleep wondering what the rest of the week has in store for you. The darkness takes you when you dream of being deep in the mountains. The air is viscous and thick with the scent of old blood. From the abyss, a pair of gold moon-like eyes glow from a towering figure. The shadow moves, too fluid, too silent, just beyond your grasp. The trees scream, the ground heaves, and then a sound. Low, guttural, laughing. Its voice is not sound, but vibration. The hum of a wasp nest, the groan of a noose tightening.
I see you're a clever creature. A cunning fox. Do you think you can outplay me?
Your breath comes fast, not with fear but rapture. You seem to recognize something. To be known is to press your rotting heart against something equally ruined. Oh, what a line!
Let's see how we match.
You barely even notice when the gnarled roots from below wrap around your legs lovingly. The forest, it screams to you.
The one who dreams the wolves.
And then the darkness reaches for you. The voice calls to you once more.
I'll let the whelp have you. Just for a little while.
Goodbye, glowing eyes. Day 2, the carving.
You're marked now. The storm listens. The trees remember.
You wake with a gasp at the remnants of the dream clinging to you like frost. Moonlit eyes burn into yours from the shadows of the pines. Something that knows your name with a voice cracking like ice. Unconsciously, your fingers buried in the quilt. Your bars hammering like a trapped thing. Morning light seeps through the frosted windows. You wake to the sound of the gas stove clicking on and the flash of the flames. Jim is awake, moving through the cabin with the creak of the floorboards under his careful steps. The bedroom door squeaks as you step out. Jim keeps his back to you, fingers fumbling with the coffee tin like it's the most fascinating thing in the world.
Oh, you're finally awake.
You sit down at the table. Jim sets a chipped mug on the table and joins you. Steam curls from it, ghostly in the cold air. He doesn't speak. The silence stretches taut as a tripwire.
Yinny, it's for you.
Jim pushes the mug towards you, an offering. His eyes dart around the room, a nervous habit you're beginning to recognize. Take the mug. The drink inside is hot cocoa. Hot and fragrant, exactly as you like it. The scent wraps around you, warm and familiar. You hadn't realized how thirsty you were until now. Jim watches you intently. Drink. You take a sip from the mug and it's good. Really good. You drink a big gulp before you even realize it. Jim's shoulders unclench just a fraction.
I'm glad you like it.
Jim's posture softens. He watches you with something like gratitude. His fingers tapping an absent rhythm against the table. The steam from your mug curls between you like a disorienting fog. Jim watches. Not the drink, not your hands, but the space where your lips meet the rim. The silence stretches, charged with something unspoken. The warmth of your drink spreads through your chest, familiar and comforting.
Is it good? How's the temperature?
Honestly, he seems really nice so far. Even though we obviously know that he's the Yandere in the story. It's perfect. With pride barely hidden, a flicker of satisfaction crosses his face. He leans back in his chair, fingers drumming once against the table.
I remembered how you take it.
Oh, you remembered how I take it, huh? Bent over. Before you know it, you drank it all. Jim holds out his hand to take your mug and you oblige. And then he busies himself with taking your mugs to the sink, but you catch the way his thumbs rub over the spot your lips just touched.
You must be hungry. I'll make you some food to go with your drink.
He crouches down and pulls out a cooler from the sink. You think you hear the click of a lock, but you can't see past Jim's form. He places some ingredients on the counter. Flour, potatoes, onions, eggs, and toast.
It's not too fancy, but it'll do.
Jim moves with quiet efficiency at the stove as he layers ingredients into a cast iron pan. Go to help. You step beside him, reaching for a knife to chop vegetables. Jim's hand catches yours, not to stop you, just to guide your grip.
Knife sharper than it looks. Here.
He adjusts your fingers. His palm warm against yours.
A smaller cuts. They'll look even.
You work in comfortable silence, shoulders brushing occasionally. When the meal is ready, he plates it carefully, nudging the best portions towards your side. His boot knocks lightly against the table. A tiny grounding touch.
You'll make a good team.
The food is simple but perfect. Fluffy eggs, crispy potatoes, pancakes, toast, slathered in some kind of jam. Jim left the jar of preserves open on the table for you, wafting a sweet scent to you in case you wanted more. Your stomach grumbles loudly at the sight and smell.
Good, you have an appetite. Go on, dig in.
He doesn't eat until you do, his gaze never leaving your face. Hello, Gilbert. Hey, Gilby. Hi, Moogle. He doesn't eat until you do. His gaze never leaves your face. Jim watches you take the first bite, his fingers drumming the table until you nod approval. The pancakes are just sweet enough. The preserves taste like blackberries and something darker. Iron? No, just your imagination. I don't think it's just my imagination. I think something weird is going on considering we had that weird dream. Hi, my little baby. The food is delicious, but leaves you oddly drowsy. He smiles, watching you eat and noting how you feel from the look on your face.
Good food will make you sleepy, huh?
That. His voice is light, but his fingers quickly tap the table twice like he's counting. Halfway through, he pushes his mug towards you.
Try this.
Hi, Gilbert. Before you realize it, you take a sip of his spiced tea, and it's just sweet enough. When you hand it back, his thumb brushes the place your lips touched. Both of you finish up quickly, and Jim takes your plates to the sink. As he's washing up, Jim hums. The tune is unfamiliar, oddly rhythmic. You've never heard it before, almost like a lullaby or a chant. When Jim notices your attention, he stops abruptly and turns away.
It's just a song from my childhood.
Jim pauses at the sink, looking out the window. The storm still rages, but he has a serene look on his face.
Could get used to this.
The fireplace crackles as Jim moves to kneel by the hearth, rearranging logs with unnecessary focus. His sleeves are rolled up slightly as he works, pale scars peeking beneath the fabric. When he notices you watching, he smiles, but his fingers twitch like he's counting something under his breath.
Not too much to do indoors, I'm afraid. Never really had guests before. Just me and the quiet.
Hey Gilbert, would you like a pat? The firelight catches the edges of the wolf carvings on the mantle.
I've got books and a puzzle if you'd like. Could make do.
A puzzle sounds nice. Jim produces a dusty puzzle box from her cabinet and directs you to the table. The pieces are worn. The image on the box faded. A snow-laden forest. The trees too familiar and the shadows between them too deep. Just like how he's gonna be too deep later.
I found this in the cellar. Might be missing a few pieces.
He spreads the pieces across the table and settles beside you. Close, but not quite touching. The puzzle is old with some edges frayed. Others darkened with age or something else. First it's easy. Order pieces first and the cabin emerges. Crooked chimney, claw marks on the door. As fire crackles, the puzzle takes shape. A cabin, a wolf, a figure standing at the tree line. Jim's fingers move with surprised precision, slotting pieces into place before you even find their match. He doesn't look at the box. He doesn't need to.
Funny how things fit together when you know where they belong.
Just like how I know you fit into me. At one point his knee brushes yours. He doesn't pull away. It's warm and deliberate. The puzzle grows. A wolf at the tree line, golden eyes gleaming even in the dim light. And then the figure. A silhouette standing just beyond the cabin's reach. Their hand is outstretched, holding nothing. The piece is missing. You look at the table, but there's nothing left. The figure's hand is empty. A void.
That's too bad.
The figure in the puzzle is holding something. A flower. A knife. But that piece is gone. You ask if he knows what it's like squinting at the missing figure's hand.
Not sure. Don't remember.
His thumb brushes the empty space where the piece should be before leaning over to grab your hand. His gaze lowers to find yours, full of unspoken meaning.
Guess some things stay lost.
You've done this before. Lean into his touch. Let's do that. Jim exhales ragged. His free hand rises, almost cupping your cheek before he catches himself.
Need understand?
Jim releases your hand. His fingers uncurl slowly as if resisting the separation. For a moment, his palm hovers like he might reach back, but then he exhales, flexing his hand as if shaking off a thought. Jim studies the puzzle, lips pressed thin before pushing back from the table to get the puzzle's box.
Maybe that missing piece will turn up later.
Is that an allegory for me being the missing piece? His gaze lingers on the empty space where the last piece should be. Then he carefully gathers the incomplete puzzle and puts it back into the box. He stands, stretching with forced casualness.
Let's see. Anything else?
Do you have any novels? Jim's smile flickers as he goes over to a small bookcase. He runs a finger along the bookshelf, hesitating over titles like Folk Remedies of the Valley and Surviving the Wilds.
Most of these are not exactly light reading.
He plucks up out a novel with a pressed flower bookmark.
But this one's okay. Romance. Well, sort of.
He hands you the book and the flower to look at. The flower feels a bit chilly in your hand. Your imagination. I do like how there's some weird stuff going on here. The cover is faded, but you catch the title, The Hare in the Hollow. You flip it open to Chapter 12, The First Snow. There are handwritten notes crowding the margins. Chapter 12, The First Snow. Vespera had always been told that the Hollow was a cursed evil place. She shivered as the memories returned to her like a vision when they first met. The villagers whispered of it in hushed tones, their voices tinged with something between reverence and fear. They said the trees there grew crooked from the weight of all the secrets they swallowed, and their roots tangled around the bones of things best left unspoken. But when she stumbled upon Bjarn in the deep of the hollow, his dark coat dusted with snow, his hands cupped around the wounded hare, she wondered if the woods had been waiting for her after all. Promise? Liars. Don't trust the moon. And Jim sees what you're looking at and reaches to take it back, flustered.
Maybe not that one. How about you pick something yourself?
You approach a small sparse bookcase and read the titles. As you run your fingers along the spines, Wilderness Survival, Edible Plants, The History of Knot Tying. Seriously. Your fingers pause on a worn leather spine tucked between two larger volumes. It doesn't have a title. When you reach for the untitled book, Jim's breath hitches and he laughs too loud.
That's just my weather log. Terrible handwriting. Here.
He snatches a battered poetry collection from the shelf, thumbing to a random page.
I like this poetry book. Let's see.
His voice smooths to a reverent murmur as he reads.
The moon's bride forgets her name. The fingers rooted in his ribs.
He stops abruptly, snapping the book shut. The fire pops, his smile doesn't reach his eyes.
Maybe let's do something else.
The poetry book lies forgotten between you, and you suddenly realize that the pressed flower bookmark is still in your palm. It feels oddly cool against your skin. Jim catches you looking at the flower and gazes at you expectantly. Keep it or return it? Keep it. You press the petal into your palm. Its coolness seeping into your skin like ink in water. Can I just say that the prose in this is really pretty. Like, the words are so, like, gorgeously, deliberately chosen, and they read and flow together so well. The veins beneath your wrist darken for a fleeting second. Or was it a trick of the firelight? You gently tuck it into your pocket. Jim's breath stills. He leans forward, voice feather light but intent.
Why'd you keep it?
His gaze fixes on your pocket where the flower sits.
Did it feel like it was yours?
Yeah, something weird is definitely going on. It feels familiar. Jim's pupils dilate. He exhales through his nose, slow like he's savoring the moment.
Knew it.
He laughs and it's raw, relieved. Then he reaches out, almost touching the petal in your pocket, but pulls back.
Things find their way where they're needed. Even here.
You absent-mindedly touch the flower in your pocket, yet a chill lingers on your palm.
What now?
I'd rather just talk. Jim freezes for a beat, then laughs. A strained, breathy sound. You both go to sit by the fireplace. He sits too close, knees bumping into yours.
Talk. Right, sure. What about?
He toys with his sleeve, tugging it down as he thinks about what to say next. You ask about the carvings. Jim's shoulders relax too much as he lifts a large wolf from the mantel. He runs a thumb along the wolf's spine where the grain splits like an old wound.
Started whittling after I left home. Kept my hands busy. Funny thing, the wood carries a lot of memories.
He leans in and hands it to you, pressing the carving into your palm. His fingers linger, too warm.
Tell me something you remember. Doesn't matter what. Something true.
His thumb presses your wrist. For a second, the pulse you feel isn't yours. I had a nightmare last night. Jim goes very still. The shadows behind him sway.
I'm sorry about that, but dreams can just be dreams. Not real.
Jim's expression softens. His thumb traces your wrist like he's counting your pulse.
Sometimes though, I think dreams are doors. You want to be careful what you invite in.
He seems to catch himself clearing his throat awkwardly. His fingers finally uncurl around your wrist as he gets up.
Anything else you want to do?
Go back to your room. You mentioned heading to your room and Jim stills, thinking. Jim smiles, satisfied with how you spent your day. He leans back, remembering all the things you've done together with a slow cat-like satisfaction.
Knew you'd be good at this. Knew it. Guess I've done all that I could think of for now.
What are you hiding, Jim? I would really want to know.
I'll come get you when it's dinner time. Get some rest for now.
You head back to your room, for now the door clicking closed behind you. The sound is soft, final. You sit on the edge of the bed, the weight of the day pressing into your shoulders like hands. You stare out the frost-veined glass. The storm still rages, snow piling in drifts against the pane. Your breath fogs the cold surface. Your breath evens out, fogging the glass in rhythmic pulses. Without realizing it, you trace the same looping pattern Jim uses to stir his coffee into the glass. You're feeling more accepting of your situation. Or maybe resigned is a better word. The snow no longer looks threatening, just inevitable, like the turn of seasons. Think about what you've seen or try to nap. Think about what you've seen. The wind howls outside as you lie stiffly beneath the quilt, staring at the ceiling. You reflect on what you've seen. Today, the first day staying in the cabin with Jim. Your palm tingles when the petals touch you, a phantom chill that won't fade. You press your hand to the mattress, but the cold lingers like a brand. That flower was too cold. Too perfect. Jim's voice, low and satisfied, replays in your skull. The flower rests heavy in your pocket. Its unnatural chill seeping through the fabric. Perhaps it's just a chilly draft. You can still picture the way the puzzle pieces had fit together under Jim's sure hands. The shadow of the cabin, the lurking wolf with its golden eyes, the figure at the tree line. But the piece it held had been missing. Now in the quiet of your room, the memory nagged at you. He's been a surprisingly attentive host in his own way. The breakfast was hearty. He remembers the little things, the way you take your hot cocoa. There's something almost comforting in the way he moves, like he's memorized the shape of the solitude and simply lets you step inside it. When Jim's still careful with his words and still watches you a little too closely, but there's no denying it. You've gotten closer today. The shadows stretch across the room, and you begin to wonder if it's evening time yet. Jim hasn't come to get you, but the hunger in your stomach pulls you out of bed. When you get up, you notice the door is slightly ajar. You could have sworn you had closed it. Jim, did you open my door and look at me? The storm has trapped you both inside for another day. The wind howls through the cracks in the cabin walls, but Jim seems almost content. He sits at the table with a small knife in hand, whittling away at a block of oak. His movements are careful and precise, like a man performing a sacred rite. He doesn't look at you, but you catch the way his fingers linger over the wood, shaping it with something like reverence. What are you making? Jim jolts to your presence and nearly nicks himself. Oh, now I feel bad.
Yandere, I didn't realize you were there.
Oh, that's so cute. It's a carving of a rabbit. A small, fragile thing. Ears folded back, body coiled as if ready to flee. When the carving is finished, Jim hesitates. His thumb brushes over the creature's back, passing over its form. He seems to consider the object in his hands before putting the carving away into his pocket without another word. You note a flash of pain across his face before he turns away. Stop him! Jim freezes, his fingers tightening around the carving. When he turns back, his gaze is searching and wary. But there's a fragile hope there too, like he's bracing for rejection.
Do you want it?
Accept it and wear it. Break it? Oh no! I feel too mean to break it. Accept it and wear it. You trace the carving with your fingertips and you want it around your throat. Just like how I want him around my throat, haha. Jim seems to read your desire and tentatively takes the carving into his hand. With a twitch of his lip, he picks up his knife again and whittles away quickly. He carves a small hole through its heart and threads it onto a leather cord. He hands it back to you with an expectant look. Can you put it on for me? Jim stiffens for a heartbeat and hurriedly obliges you. The first thing you notice is that the cord around your neck is tight. A collar disguised as jewelry. Whoa, kinky. The thin leather knotted snug around your throat is not enough to choke, but enough that you'll always feel it there. God, what a pretty sentence. The wood is smooth, almost too delicate, like it might splinter if gripped too hard. Jim's eyes burn in the dim light at the sight of you, breath shallow.
I knew it would suit you.
He shifts closer, knees brushing yours as he reaches out to adjust the carving. His touch lingers, warm, calloused fingers tracing the curve of the carving's back alongside your skin.
You... fits you better than I thought it would.
There's a weight to the words. Something deeper than just the carving. He starts pacing around the room, looking at the fire, peering at the walls. He's stalling. You can tell by the way his shoulders stay tense. And finally he exhales, running a hand through his hair.
I'll have to make you more things if you like it.
When he starts to retreat to his room, his steps are lighter than usual.
I'll see you soon. Night.
But what about dinner? I'm hungry. He strides into his room without another word. With nothing else to do, you also head back to your room. The bed creaks as you settle in. The blanket's too stiff, the air too still. You try and sleep, but it comes in shallow waves. Each time you start to drift to sleep, the shadows at the edges of the room seem to shift just slightly. A thud. A muffled curse. The creak of floorboards bearing weight. The cabin is too quiet for the sound to be anything but deliberate. You sit up. A sliver of light bleeds under your door. Someone's still awake. Oh no. I'm getting a little creeped out. You're drawn to the noise and venture out of your room. Night falls heavy over the cabin. The fire reduced to embers. The wind is quieted, but the silence is worse, thick with unsaid words. Jim stands by the window, his back to you, fingers absently tracing the edge of the wood carving knife. You can see the tension in his shoulders. The way his breath fogs the glass in uneven bursts. He knows you're watching. He always knows. Approach him quietly. You step closer, the floorboards creaking under your weight. Jim doesn't turn, but his grip on the carving knife tightens. When Jim turns to face you, the moonlight paints his face in blue and shadow. His eyes dark and unreadable. There's something raw in his expression. Something hungry and hesitant all at once.
Couldn't sleep, but you should be asleep.
His voice is rough. Raw. I couldn't sleep either. You stare back at him, simply, and he tenses. The air between you is charged and electric. He swallows hard, his gaze flickering to your lips and away like he's afraid of what he might do if he looks too long. Kiss me. A look of frustration flashes across his face, but Jim breaks at your command and closes his distance. In one swift motion, his lips are on yours, his hands gripping your hips hard enough to bruise. The kiss is fierce, all teeth and desperation. He nips at your lower lip, his breath hot against your skin. When you gasp, he groans, pressing closer like he wants to melt into you.
Mine.
It's not a request, it's a claim. He doesn't let go, his forehead pressed into yours as he struggles to steady his breathing.
You...
He struggles to say something, but swallows it instead. Jim suddenly pulls away from you like he's been touched by fire.
I had to go.
He begins grabbing his heavy winter clothes and heads for the door. You reach out to him, but he gives you a dangerous look.
Don't follow me.
He leaves the cabin, the door slamming behind him. The door clicks shut behind him and there's a beat of silence. Then the unmistakable click of a lock engaging. Follow him. You're reaching for the door before you realize it. The handle is cold under your palm. The metal biting into your skin as you twist. It doesn't budge. Pound on the door. You rattle it harder, throwing your weight against the wood. Nothing. The door doesn't even shake in its frame. It's solid, stubborn, like the trees outside have spent decades digging their roots deep into the earth. Look at the door. It's a double-sided deadbolt. Jim has locked you in the cabin for the night. Look out the window. Through the window you see Jim's retreating figure. His shoulders hunched against the wind and snow. It looks like he's holding something. He doesn't look back. Go back to bed. There's nothing I can really do. You hear a distant axe hitting wood outside over and over and over. The night stretches on, and Jim's touch lingers like a brand. And Jim seems to have no intention of returning tonight. With nothing else to do, you head back to your room. You lay back down in your bed, filled with thoughts of Jim, but your eyes grow heavy with sleep. The storm murmurs against the windows, a lullaby of wind and creaking wood. You drift into sleep and the dream comes like a whisper. You stand in the cathedral of snow-laden trees, their branches clawing at the sky as deep as oblivion. The air smells of frost and something older. Moss, blood, burnt sugar. The carving around your neck tightens and drives you forward. Before you is a path of white flowers. Like piles of snowfall, their silver veins pulse in time with your heartbeat. One brushes your ankle, familiar and possessive. You don't recall their name, yet your tongue forms the shape of it anyway. Moon petals. Is that what they're called? How do you know? They're wolf tracks. Deep and deliberate. They lead you forward without a choice. The tree seemingly curving into you, pulling you in. Something moves in the dark. Not a wolf, not a man. A shape with too many joints. Its shadow stretching farther than the light should allow. Are those tentacles? And those eyes. They glow impossibly bright, drinking up the shadows. A voice hums. Jim's voice? No, deeper. It curls through the trees in fragments.
What do you have, rabbit?
Your palm grows heavy. You unclench your fist to reveal. It's a moon petal, pressed and dried. It pulses in your hand with secret life. Its mouth doesn't move. The words echoing off the trees.
How curious.
You hunger for him.
Even as you tremble in his hands. I've seen how you lean into his shadow.
The flower convulses and roots into your skin. You hiss through your teeth as it claws inside.
Stay a little longer. I've been starved for you for so long.
I'm so interested to figure out what's happening. Thanks for playing day 2. That was so good. Okay, I don't think I can do every single option, but I do definitely want to check out a bunch of the other ones. You snap your head towards the sound and you feel your heart racing with fear. You weren't expecting anyone. And the thought of a stranger out here in the middle of nowhere during a snowstorm sent a shiver down your spine. But maybe it was the cabin host, or someone that needed help. You set down your drink on the table gently and look towards the door. What will you do now? Who is it? You try and calm your nerves while you wait for an answer. An answer that doesn't come. The answer doesn't come, but I will later. Open the door. Or ... You hold your breath and wait to see what happens. For what feels like a couple of minutes, there's no more knocking sounds or sounds over the freezing winds. There's no peephole on the door, so you can't see who it is from the door. Eventually, you quietly sneak over to the window and try and peek out, but you don't see anyone. It's hard to see with the snow already frosting the glass and forming an icy crust along the edges of the panes. Hopefully, whoever it was just left. Maybe they got the wrong place. As you're about to return to your seat, you hear a click of the lock. Time slows and your body tenses from the noise. The hinges of the door creak open as the biting and cold wind rushes in. The snow briefly obscures your vision as it flurries towards you. Oh, hello. And there, a tall looming figure towers over you before you can act. Your mind races with fear and uncertainty. Who are they? What do they want? You take a hesitant step back, your heart pounding in your chest, just like how he's gonna be pounding me later. Hi, can I help you? You wait for them to speak, to move, to do anything. But they just stand there, unmoving like a statue. His eyes glint faintly as they're fixed on you. The intensity heavy enough to make you shiver. You can't help but feel trapped under his gaze. As you're about to utter a word, the stranger's voice finally cuts through the silence. It's a deep voice that matches his intimidating form. There's a slight southern drawl to it.
What are you doing in my house?
Huh? The stranger's masked face remains unreadable as they shut the door behind them, sealing you both inside. The stranger pulls down his mask to reveal his face. He begins dusting off the snow from his clothes and goes to hang up his overcoat by the door naturally. I see that he is a metal fan. Me too. I wonder what he likes.
I'm Jim. This is my place.
You stare speechlessly at his casual statement, as if he's not aware of the scare he just gave you.
What's your name?
Tell him your name. What is your name?
Yinny.
There's an awkward beat before he gestures for you to take a seat by the fireplace. I'm going to leave now. You're very uncomfortable in this small space with this intimidating stranger. Jim has a panicked look on his face as he takes in your words.
But it's not safe to leave right now. You can stay here and leave later.
This time you have enough room to move past him while grabbing your luggage on the way out. You step back outside towards your car. The icy wind whips across your form as you trudge outside with a faltering determination. How long has it been since you got here? It looks like the snow on the ground has already doubled. And more was coming down angrily. Maybe this isn't such a good idea. Keep going. You steel your determination again and push through the snow.
Wait.
You ignore Jim's pleas as you reach for your car door. Just get to your car, just go. The cold bites your bare hands as you wrench open the driver's door. Your luggage is thrown unceremoniously over to the passenger side, and you focus on the sole goal of getting away from here. You can feel Jim's eyes on you through the windshield, but you don't dare look up as you start your car. Keys in the ignition, engine roaring to life, tires spin once or twice before catching traction. The car lurches violently, throwing your luggage onto the floor. White knuckling the wheel, you slam the gas again, the wheels scream and the car doesn't move. Through the windshield, Jim strides towards you, his breath ragged plumes in the air. His expression isn't anger, it's concern. He yells at you from the other side of your car.
You die out here!
You jerk the gear shift into reverse. The tires spin uselessly, digging deeper into the ice. Abandon the car and walk. Oh, I'm gonna die. Floor it again. Desperation fuels you. You'll burn out the engine if you have to. The engine shrieks in protest. Black smoke curls from the wheel wells. Jim doesn't flinch. He steps closer, palms slamming into the hood.
Stop! You're not getting anywhere in the snow.
The smell of burning rubber floods the cabin. The car groans and dies with a shudder. Silence. Your breath fogs the glass as Jim slowly rounds your door. His shadow falls across you. His hand hovers over the door handle, not pulling, waiting. Unlock the door. Don't give up. No, you're not giving up yet. What are you gonna do about it? Jim glares back at you wordlessly but steps back away from the car as you figure out what to do. Abandon the car and walk. Oh, I'm dying. In frustration, you leave your car and start walking down where the road used to be. The cold instantly starts clawing at you to your core. And it's made apparent to you that your clothes aren't nearly as insulated enough for this kind of weather. So I've decided to be stupid, but you gotta leave. There's no way you're staying in the cabin with this guy. You don't hear Jim move from his spot near your car or call out to you. He seemingly lets you go. The fire you had when you made the decision to walk is dimming as your body temperature drops. How long have you been walking? It's getting harder to see through all the snow. You reach out your arm in front of you and you can barely see your hand. Uh-oh. You feel your limbs slowing down. When did the snow get so heavy? It's all white. When did I lay down in the snow? I'm so tired. I can't keep my eyes open anymore. And there I go. Goodbye, Yinny. That's what you get for being silly. There's a faint whisper. They wanted to take you, but I didn't let them. You feel warm. Your eyes flutter open despite how tired you feel. Wait, I'm not dead? In a daze, you notice you're in an unknown room. It's nighttime now, but the storm sounds like it's still raging outside. Oh, Jim must have saved me. You attempt to move, but your limbs feel so sluggish. And the bed is so warm. You start to relax and soon the storm outside begins to sound like white noise. The events of the day are taking their toll on you. Before you arrived, you're feeling unsure. Now, after everything that has happened, you feel... attraction? Honestly, you're attracted to Jim. I just flipped. He's been not what you expected, and you're looking forward to learning more about him. As you think about how you feel, you drift off to sleep, wondering what the rest of the week has in store for you. The darkness takes you when you dream of being deep in the mountains. The air is viscous, thick with the scent of old blood. What the hell is that? From the abyss, a pair of gold moon-like eyes glow from a towering figure. The shadow moves, too fluid, too silent, just beyond your grasp. The trees scream, the ground heaves, and then... a sound. Low, guttural, laughing. Its voice is not sound, but the vibration, the hum of a wasp's nest, the groan of a noose tightening. I see you're a clever creature. A cunning fox. Do you think you can outplay me? The voice scares you. You don't understand what it is. You try and get away from this haunting visage, but the damp cold earth under your feet clings to you. Branches claw at your arms, leaving thin red trails in their wake. The less you understand, the rougher things get. The trees loom and shadows laugh. The creature taunts you further. You try to leave. You try to run from the inevitable. I'm the door you cannot close. You are home. The forest, it screams to you. The one who dreams the wolves. Are you Mothman? And then the darkness reaches for you. The voice calls to you once more. I'll let the whelp have you. Just for a little while. You kinda remind me of Mothman. Specifically like the Fallout Mothman. Day 2. The carving. You are marked now. The storm listens. The trees remember. You wake with a gasp. The remnants of the dream clinging to you like frost. Moonlit eyes burned into yours from shadows of the pines. Something near your name with a voice like cracking ice. Unconsciously, your fingers buried in the quilt, your pulse hammering like a trapped thing. Morning light seeps through the frosted windows. You wake to the sound of the gas stove clicking on and the flash of the flames. Jim is awake, moving through the cabin with the creak of the floorboards under his careful steps. The bedroom door squeaks as you step out. Hello? Jim keeps his back to you, fingers fumbling with the coffee tin like it's the most fascinating thing in the world. Oh, you're finally awake. The weight of yesterday's events presses against your ribs like a bruise. Your failed escape attempt. The silence between you isn't empty. It's full of everything left unsaid about the storm. About the way he carried you inside. About how close you came to... Thank you for bringing me in last night. He stills for a couple of heartbeats. When he finally turns, his eyes are dark with something you can't name. Just... don't do that again. You sit down at the table. Jim sets the chipped mug on the table and joins you. Steam curls from it, ghostly in the air, and he doesn't speak. The silence stretches, taut as a tripwire. It's for you. He pushes the mug towards you, an offering. Wait for him to speak. I don't want to be mean to him. I feel like a dick. He clears his throat as you look at him patiently. It's hot cocoa. That's what you like, right? You made this yesterday. You nod. He exhales just slightly and nudges the mug closer. Take the mug. The drink inside is hot cocoa. Hot and fragrant exactly as you like it. The scent wraps around you, warm and familiar. What if I pretend to drink? You lift the mug, letting the liquid barely touch your lips. Jim's gaze drops to your throat, waiting for the telltale movement of a swallow. You fake it. He doesn't blink. Then slowly he takes a sip of his drink, his eyes never leaving yours. At that moment, you spit the liquid gently back into the mug, the liquid swirling dark and unnoticed. His fingers tighten around his cup and he says nothing. Oh, now I feel bad. You occasionally lift your cup to appear to drink it. The steam from your mug curls between you like a disorienting fog. Jim's gaze lingers on your throat, waiting. When you set the mug down, his eyes narrow just for a second before he reaches for it. Too hot. Yeah, I'm waiting for it to cool. He hums non-committal as he busies himself with his mug again. The mug sits between you awkwardly, the steam becoming as cold as the air between you. He takes the abandoned mug roughly and the mug disappears into the sink with a clatter. But the way he watches you now, like he's memorizing the shape of your distrust. My god, this is so brilliantly written. It's so pretty. I'm so glad I decided to do like an extra playthrough again just so I could see some of the other different options, because good god. Jim's face shudders. He sets his cold mug down with a deliberate care, then retreats to his room without a word. The click of his door latch is deafening in the quiet cabin. You're alone. For now. The snowstorm howls outside relentless. Jim's silent retreat to his room leaves you standing alone in the dim cabin. The air thick with unspoken tension. You retreat to your room, the walls pressing in as you consider your options. But for now you have time. Time to think, time to explore. You sit on the edge of your bed listening to the muffled creak of the cabin under the weight of the snow. The quiet is oppressive, broken only by the occasional gust of wind rattling the window pane. Without being able to leave the shrinking cabin, what will you do? You head back out into the main room to see if there's anything to pass the time. The storm rattles the windows in the cabin's dim living room. Jim is nowhere to be seen. Must still be in his room. What now? Cook some food? Let's do that. You're hungry. Jim hasn't offered to cook, so it's time to fend for yourself. The cabin's kitchen is cramped. A propane stove, a scarred wooden counter, and a fridge groaning in the corner. But when you tug open the fridge, the chill that rolls out feels mocking. The shelves are nearly bare. There's a small carton of eggs, half a stick of butter, and a jar of preserves, unlabeled, the contents dark and clotted. You could have sworn there was more yesterday. But the fridge hums innocently, its emptiness glaring. As you clink around the kitchenette looking for more food, a shadow falls across the floorboards. Jim leans against the doorframe. His voice is light, but his posture is anything but. Looking for something? His gaze flicks to the empty fridge, then back to you. A silent challenge. Start cooking with what's there, or where's all the food? Where's all the food? Jim sighs, pushing off the doorframe to rummage under the sink. He crouches, muscles flexing under his shirt as he drags out a dented padlock cooler. The fridge's compressor is acting up. Had to move almost everything to the cellar last night. There's some more stuff in the cooler, but it's for emergencies. You notice some bread is visible in the high cabinet, but there's no step stool. Jim follows your gaze upwards. Jim waits, arms crossed, to see if you'll climb the counters like a misbehaving child. He's mocking me! Climb for it? You strain for the bread, legs shaking to balance on the countertop. Jim lets you teeter before catching your waist.
Stubborn, aren't you?
He gives you a frustrated look before pushing you aside. Jim reaches up there and grabs each of you a single slice. The kitchen feels smaller with Jim in it. His presence fills the space, shoulders nearly brushing the cabinets as he moves. He doesn't wait for your answer, just steps forward, his voice leaving no room for argument.
Let me cook. I know my way around my own kitchen.
Refuse or accept refuse? I can cook myself. Jim's jaw tightens. He doesn't step back, forcing you to brush past him. His arm twitches like he might block you, but stops just short. I feel bad.
Fine.
The way he says it makes your skin prickle. Not quite mocking, not quite concerned, just waiting. The space feels alien, hands just out of reach. Utensils in our drawers. The stove clicks stubbornly but doesn't ignite. You're able to get to work yesterday.
Flint's temperamental, needs the right touch.
Jim's presence looms nearby the whole time, tracking all of your clumsy movements. Eventually, he reaches around you to fix the stove. His chest presses against your back just a second too long. Woo!
She'll let me do it. Now we're both hungry.
You ignore the shiver that runs through you and continue trying to cook without his help. That looks bad. Your meal is meager. Edible but barely. Jim doesn't comment, he just takes a simple slice of toast with some butter.
Next time, let me help.
Jim exhales, disappointed as he heads back to his room. I feel so bad. You finish your meal and your hunger is satiated enough. For now. What now? Read a book by the fire, rest in bed. Read a book by the fire? You approach a small sparse bookcase and read the titles as you run your fingers along the spines. Wilderness survival, edible plants, the history of knot tying, seriously. Your fingers pause on a worn leather spine tucked between two larger volumes. It doesn't have a title. You pull out a small journal. The leather is soft with age and the edges are frayed. There's a faint crescent moon symbol embossed on the cover. Read journal. You hesitate only momentarily, then open it. The first few pages are dated entries in neat, careful handwriting. October 12th. First snowfall came today. Caught 2 rabbits in the new snare. Need to check some of the traps tomorrow. You flip further in. The entries become less frequent. The handwriting changing, sometimes neat, sometimes jagged. Some pages of sketches, plants and animal tracks. Then you reach a section where the writing changes dramatically. They're still watching.
I can hear them. Their marks aren't enough anymore. They're coming. The storm will bring them in. This kept them out. Last time, need to remember, need to protect them for when they're ready.
Your breath catches them. You flip faster now near the end, the most recent entry.
They're here. Have to be careful, have to go slow. The trees are already whispering.
As you turn the page, a dried flower falls into your lap, a white bloom perfectly preserved. You stare at the flower in your palm, breathless from what you just read. The cabin seems too quiet suddenly. Then a floorboard creaks behind you. You snap the journal shut, but it's too late. You spin to see Jim leaning in the bedroom doorway. How long has he been watching?
You find anything interesting?
His expression is unreadable as he watches you with those two blue eyes, fingers flexing at his side. The flower feels colder in your hand. What is this? You hold the journal up, testing his reaction, watching his face closely. His jaw tightens and he holds out his hand expectantly.
Private thoughts. You wouldn't like it if I went through your things.
He pointedly glances at your half-open bedroom door. You hand back the book, unsatisfied but doesn't look like Jim will say any more on the subject. He slides the journal back into its spot. The moment stretches, the fire pops. Jim's gaze locks onto your clenched fist where the flower rests icy against your palm. His expression flickers something between panic and hunger before soothing into a careful neutrality.
What else is in your hand?
Your fingers tremble, the flower feels heavier than it should. When you unfurl your hand, the white petals are now slightly crumpled, edges blackened with frostbite. Jim's breath catches just for a second, before he slowly and carefully speaks. This was in your journal. Jim grabs your wrist to pull you towards him, peering at the flower.
I don't think so.
His thumb brushes your wrist as he pulls away in warning. He takes the flower from your hand, turning it over like a curiosity, then pockets it while giving you an unreadable look.
It's just a flower.
You still feel the coolness lingering in your trembling hand. That's different. Then he reaches over to you and you flinch. His gaze holds yours as he slowly pulls out a book from the shelf next to you and hands it to you firmly. The cover reads Wilderness First Aid Manual.
Read this. It's good for you. Never know when you'll need it.
His finger taps the back. Right over an advertisement of Learn How to Treat Frostbite. His gaze flickers to your exposed fingertips and back to your face. A silent message. The moment stretches, the storm rattles the windows, but Jim doesn't move away. Okay. Jim's lips twitch. Not quite a smile, but close. He steps back, satisfied.
Smart.
He turns to the fire, but you catch him watching you from the corner of his eye. Soon he heads back into his room without another word. You sit and try and read some of the manual, but Jim's appearance leaves you slightly unsettled. Even though Jim has retreated to his room, you can still somehow feel his eyes on you. Maybe you can look into the bookcase more later, when Jim is occupied elsewhere. What now? Try calling someone. You reach into your pocket to retrieve your phone. The wind howls outside as you stare at the blank screen. No signal, no bars, just a mocking no service blinking back at you. The landline on the counter catches your eye. Worth a try. You lift the receiver. Dead silence, no dial tone, just the hollow echo of your breathing. A floorboard creaks behind you. You don't need to turn to know. Jim's there, watching again.
Who exactly are you trying to call?
Jim is leaning against the doorframe, arms crossed. His expression is neutral, but his eyes track the way your fingers clutch the receiver.
It's not like anyone can come or go right now anyway.
His tone is icy and his eyes narrow on you, tracking you, knowing how stubborn you've been. Sorry, I feel bad. Jim's patience is running thin. You're lying. Jim's lips twitch. He reaches past you to jiggle the phone cord, his chest nearly pressed against your back.
Why would I lie? You're safe here.
Am I? The words linger heavy and wrong. The silence stretches too long. His gaze darkens, the polite mask slipping just enough for you to see the ice beneath.
Think you should go to your room for a while.
He hasn't moved from the doorway. The unspoken command in the air between you. This isn't a suggestion. You hesitate, weighing defiance. But the facts are undeniable. His broad frame blocks the only exit. The storm shrieks outside, a reminder of the wilderness's indifference. And that look in his eyes, patient but not endlessly so. Your feet move before you decide to obey, and Jim follows just too close behind as you trudge down to your room.
Rest up. I'll get you for supper later.
And with that, your bedroom door creaks shut behind you. The sound is soft and final. You sit on the edge of the bed, the weight of the day pressing into your shoulders like hands. You stare out at the frost-veined glass. The storm still rages, snow piling in drifts against the pane. Your breath fogs the cold surface. You scoff as you peer out of your cage. You consider writing a plea, a curse, a name, but who would see it? The trees? The wolves? A single finger scrapes across the frost, etching a half word before letters sweat and blur almost immediately, as if the house rejects your defiance. Jim's presence was an inescapable shadow over you. Think about what you see and try to nap. Try to nap. You close your eyes and try to rest, tossing fitfully. Something unsettled you as you try to sleep, if at all. It was hard to tell the time with the snowstorm roaring. The shadows stretch across your room and you begin to wonder if it's evening time yet. Jim hasn't come to get you, but the hunger in your stomach pulls you out of bed. When you get up, you notice the door is slightly ajar. You could have sworn that you closed it. The storm has trapped you both inside for another day. The wind howls through the cracks in the cabin walls, but Jim seems almost content. He sits at the table, a small knife in hand, whittling away at a block of oak. His movements are careful and precise, like a man performing a sacred rite. He doesn't look at you. But you catch the way his fingers linger over the wood, shaping it with something like reverence. Watch quietly. You stay planted where you are, hoping to not disturb him. The sound of scraping continues. Eventually, Jim begins to become aware of your gaze as he finishes his work. It's a carving of a fox. Oh, it's not a rabbit this time. Sleek and clever with a slight tilt to its head. When the carving is finished, Jim hesitates. His thumb brushes over the creature's back, passing over its form. He seems to consider the object in his hands before putting the carving away into his pocket without another word. You note the flash of pain across his face before he turns away. Stop him or let him go? Stop him. Jim freezes, his fingers tightening around the carving. When he turns back, his gaze is searching and wary, but there's a fragile hope there too, like he's bracing for rejection.
Do you want it?
I'll accept it, but don't wear it. You trace the carving with your fingertips, but you don't want to wear it. Jim watches you. As you turn the wooden carving in your hands, his usual guarded expression softening at the edges.
It looks better in your hands.
Then Jim clears his throat, suddenly awkward, and turns back to the fire. But you catch the faintest curve of his mouth before he hides it.
I'm glad you're keeping it.
Before he turns in for the night, he hesitates, glancing back at you. Well, night. He stands to leave without another word. With nothing else to do, you also head back to your room. The bed creaks as you settle in. The blanket's too stiff, the air too still. You try to sleep, but it comes in shallow waves. Each time you start to drift to sleep, the shadows at the edges of the room seem to shift just slightly. A thud. A muffled curse. The creak of floorboards bearing weight. The cabin is too quiet for the sound to be anything but deliberate. You sit up. A sliver of light bleeds under your door. Someone's still awake. You drawn to the noise and venture out of your room. Night falls heavy over the cabin, fire reduced to embers. The wind has quieted, but the silence is worse, thick with unsaid words. Jim stands by the window, his back to you, fingers absently tracing the edge of the wood-carving knife. You see the tension in his shoulders, the way his breath fogs the glass in uneven bursts. He knows you're watching. He always knows. Approach him quietly. You step closer, the floorboards creaking under your weight. Jim doesn't turn, but his grip on the carving knife tightens. When Jim turns to face you, the moonlight paints his face in blue and shadow, his eyes dark and unreadable. There's something raw in his expression, something hungry and hesitant all at once.
Couldn't sleep, but you should be asleep.
His voice is rough and raw. I heard you were awake.
Then I'm sorry for bothering you.
The air between you is charged, electric. He swallows hard, his gaze flickering to your lips and away, like he's afraid of what he might do if he looks too long. Step forward. Jim hesitates, his hand hovering near your face like he's afraid to touch you. When you lean in, he lets out a shaky breath, his fingers finally brushing your cheek. The kiss is soft, almost tentative, a question, not a demand. His lips are chapped from the cold, but warm, so warm. When he pulls back, his eyes are wide and vulnerable.
I didn't.
You kiss him again, and this time he whimpers against your mouth, his hands trembling when they cradle your face. Jim avoids your eyes afterwards, his ears red. He touches his lips like he's trying to memorize a feeling. He suddenly pulls away from you like he's been touched by fire.
I had to go.
He begins grabbing his heavy winter clothes and heads for the door. You reach out to him, but he gives you a dangerous look.
Don't follow me.
He leaves the cabin, door slamming behind him. The door clicks shut behind him and there's a beat of silence. Then the unmistakable click of a lock engaging. Go back to bed. You hear a distant axe hitting wood outside over and over and over. The night stretches on, and Jim's touch lingers like a brand. And Jim seems to have no intention of returning tonight. With nothing else to do, you head back to your room. I wonder what the dream is going to say this time. The storm murmurs against the windows, a lullaby of wind and creaking wood. You drift into sleep and the dream comes like a whisper. You stand in the cathedral of snow-laden trees, their branches clawing at the sky as deep as oblivion. The air smells of frost and something older. Moss, blood, burnt sugar. In cracks between trees, you see a large wooden carving watching you, waiting. Before you is bare earth, the ground twitches when your shadow falls. You feel something between your teeth, and when you pick it out, a white flower moist from your insides, silver veins throbbing mockingly at you. You don't recall their name, yet your tongue forms the shape of it anyway. Moon petals. Is that what they're called? How do you know? There are wolf tracks, deep and deliberate. You whirl to flee in the other direction, but the woods stretch into the horizon. Something moves in the dark, not a wolf, not a man, a shape with too many joints, its shadows stretching farther than the light should allow. And those eyes, they glow impossibly bright, drinking up the shadows. A voice hums. Jim's voice? No, deeper. It curls through the trees in fragments.
What do you have, Fox?
Your palm grows heavy. You unclench your fist to reveal a moon petal now fully bloomed. Its center is a perfect black pupil. Well, that's different. Its mouth doesn't move, but the words bloom from behind your ribs.
You love this game we play, don't you?
The push and pull.
How sweetly you bare your throat between each defiant snarl.
The figure laughs and the sound is Jim's, warped and delighted. Oh,
stay a little longer. I've been starved for so long.
That's so interesting. Yeah, I'm really glad we did a second playthrough just to check out some different things. And that is my playthrough of Chilling Devotion Days 1 and 2. I'm really glad we did both of the playthroughs. The first one where when we were nicer to Jim, and the second one where we were less nice. I also did go back and flick through like the cruelest options, and there wasn't too much of a change other than the fact that like a little bit of the lines in the dreams differed a little bit, but I felt really bad when I did that. I felt like a wiener, but this was really good. The prose is absolutely gorgeous and it flows so nicely, and it was just so pleasant to read. It was like every sentence was so incredibly beautiful. I loved it. I also really like the setup for the potential lore here. There is definitely something weird that's going on. Either we don't remember who we are and Jim knows who we are, or there's like something wrong with the forest, because there does seem to be an entity. Whether that entity lurks inside Jim or whether that entity is the forest itself, we still don't know yet. But I am very, very keen to find out. And Jim himself, I think, has a lot of potential. I think as a yandere, he has a lot of potential to be very, very scary. Because at the moment, he's quite, like, almost innocent in a way. And almost like he's just, like, playing this, like, kind stranger that's helping you out. But he is ultimately in a position of power here because it's his cabin. He's much stronger and bigger than you are. And he's obviously familiar with what the forest can do. So I think if push comes to shove, there is a very real chance that Jim could be quite scary and quite terrifying, and it's almost as if it's either his kindness is genuine or the kindness that he's displaying to you right now and the careful observations that he's making is more of an indication of how patient and manipulative he can potentially be. So I think it's very interesting to be able to find out how he's going to actually be in the future. The game itself was brilliantly done as well. All of the options contributing to like how Jim ultimately treats you and perceives you depending on the route that you take was really unique. I think that because of that, the game offers a lot of replayability that is really, really nice. And yeah, just really pleasant to see because I replayed through it twice and both of the routes were just very different, including like from the very beginning when you first encounter Jim. Like, a lot of it is very, very different, and you get a lot of different scenes, and I think that is masterfully done. And Jim himself, I think he's really cute. I like his alternative style. I really like his hair, and like his eyes are like really pretty to me as well. I like how he looks a little bit tired too. It just definitely remains to be seen. I think he has potential to be really scary, and I'm really excited to find out in future days as to what he's going to turn out to be like. I feel like the yandere at the moment is definitely very slow burn. You can get like the tiniest little hints of it. My cat is murping in the background. You can get really tiny hints of it, but ultimately I think it's going to peak in future installments and I can't wait. But thank you so much for being here. If you guys like this video, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss out on the next part. And also if you want to support my channel, feel free to check out my Patreon. Link is in the description box below. You get access to exclusive playthroughs, uncut reactions to spicy scenes, and spicy art that I draw as well. But thank you so much again, and until the next fictional man, take care.